10. John Lansing Jr. In 1829, John Lansing Jr., a former Chief Justice of the New York State Supreme Court, mysteriously vanished after leaving his hotel in Manhattan to mail a letter. Despite his stammer, which hindered his political ambitions, Lansing had an illustrious legal career. He served in the Congress of the Confederation in 1785, participated in the Constitutional Convention in 1787, and became the Chancellor of New York in 1801. In 1800, he presided over the landmark People v. Weeks case, the first formally documented murder trial in American history. On the night of December 12, 1829, Lansing went to mail a letter via boat and was never seen again. Several theories about his disappearance emerged. He might have fallen off the dock, been mugged and killed with his body hidden, or been murdered by political enemies. The latter theory gained traction when the grandson of publisher Thurlow Weed claimed that his grandfather had evidence of Lansing's murder by powerful political enemies, but refused to name them. The truth remains unknown, and Lansing's body has never been found. An empty tomb in his hometown of Albany, New York, bears his name, waiting for him to return home. 9. Solomon Northup. Solomon Northup, the author of the acclaimed book 12 Years a Slave, vanished mysteriously in 1857. His gripping narrative, which was adapted into an Oscar-winning film in 2013, reveals the harrowing truth of his abduction and sale into slavery. Particularly harrowing is his account of the cruelty he endured under Edwin Epps. Northup's book was an immediate sensation, selling 30,000 copies within 2 years. Following his escape, Northup dedicated himself to the Underground Railroad, aiding countless slaves to freedom, and tirelessly pursued legal action against his abductors. Unfortunately, systemic racism thwarted his efforts. He was barred from testifying in Washington, D.C., and although permitted to file suit in New York, the case was ultimately dismissed after numerous delays. In 1857, Northup embarked on a speaking tour in Canada, never to return. His fate remains shrouded in mystery, with theories suggesting he became a Union spy, was recaptured into slavery, or met an unknown end in an unmarked grave. Despite the uncertainty surrounding his disappearance, Solomon Northup's legacy profoundly impacted the abolition movement and continues to resonate in the fight for justice and equality. 8. James William Boyd. In 1865, Confederate officer Captain James William Boyd was released from Union captivity with plans to reunite with his son and travel to Mexico. But he mysteriously vanished. Boyd's disappearance sparked a conspiracy theory suggesting he was mistakenly killed as John Wilkes Booth, President Lincoln's assassin. Though Boyd bore a resemblance to Booth and shared his initials, this theory lacks concrete evidence and has been debated, dismissed, and fictionalized by many historians and writers. What is certain is that Boyd was a Union prisoner of war until February 1865, released to care for his 7 children after his wife's death. His son received a letter to meet him in Brownsville, Texas. But Boyd never appeared, and no trace of him was ever found. 7. Charlie Ross. In 1874, 4-year-old Charlie Ross was playing in his Philadelphia garden when he was lured into a horse-drawn carriage and vanished, never to be seen again. His older brother Walter escaped, but the event became infamous as the first American kidnapping with a ransom note. This tragic case led to a pivotal change in the law, upgrading kidnapping from a misdemeanor to a felony in Pennsylvania by 1875. Over time, the Ross family received 23 ransom letters demanding $20,000. The authorities, inexperienced with such crimes, mistakenly offered a $20,000 reward, sparking a flood of false leads and desperate claims, complicating the search for Charlie. The case took a dramatic turn when Joseph Douglas, shot during a robbery, confessed to the kidnapping with his dying breath. However, he and his accomplice died before revealing Charlie's fate. Another associate was convicted, but remained silent about Charlie's whereabouts. In 2012, 22 of the ransom letters resurfaced and were auctioned for $20,000, echoing the original demand and adding a final twist to this haunting story. 6. William Cantelo. William Cantelo, an ingenious inventor, created an early version of the machine gun in the basement of his Southampton pub. His neighbors often heard rapid gunfire from below. In the 1880s, Cantelo left for a business trip to market his invention and never returned. Initially believed to have met with an accident, suspicions arose when his son saw a photo of Hiram Maxim, the credited inventor of the Maxim gun, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Cantelo. Convinced that Maxim was their father, they hired a private investigator but found no definitive proof. There are hints that Maxim visited Southampton and possibly met Cantelo if he wasn't Cantelo himself. Despite the mystery, Maxim died wealthy, while Cantelo's sons inherited a pub marked by bullet holes in its basement. 5. Louis Le Prince. Louis Le Prince was a true pioneer of the motion picture industry, standing alongside legends like the Lumiere brothers and Thomas Edison. As a young man, Le Prince was inspired by the renowned studio of Jacques Daguerre, sparking his fascination with images and eventually moving pictures. His groundbreaking Le Prince single-lens cine camera, patented in 1888, predates Edison's similar inventions. Tragically, in 1890, Le Prince vanished mysteriously after boarding a train from Dijon to Paris, leaving his potential unfulfilled and the world speculating his fate. Theories range from suicide due to financial woes, intentional disappearance to avoid a scandal, to murder by his own brother over an inheritance dispute. Some even suggest that Thomas Edison orchestrated Le Prince's demise to eliminate competition. Regardless of the theories, what remains indisputable is that Le Prince's cine camera captured the world's first moving images with the Roundhay Garden scene in 1888, forever cementing his legacy in the history of cinema. 4. Flannan Isles Lighthouse Keepers. On December 26, 1900, the 3 keepers of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse in Scotland vanished without a trace. Their disappearance was highly unusual, as regulations prohibited all 3 from leaving their posts simultaneously, especially during a storm when the lighthouse was crucial for guiding ships through treacherous seas. Upon the arrival of the relief keeper, he found the lighthouse abandoned. Investigations revealed that the keepers had been on duty until December 15th, as evidenced by their logs. A passing vessel reported the lighthouse light was out that night, though the light was later found to be in working order. Despite numerous theories, including the possibility that the men were swept away by a wave while securing equipment, or that one went to rescue the others and met the same fate, the mystery remains unsolved. In 1912, poet Wilfred Wilson Gibson's work Flannan Isle added an eerie dimension to the story, describing a scene of overturned chairs and untouched meals, hinting at a supernatural twist, although this remains speculative. 3. Belle Gunness. Belle Gunness, a notorious Norwegian-American serial killer, disappeared from her Indiana farm on April 28, 1908. After allegedly murdering up to 40 people. Using tactics akin to modern-day catfishing, Belle lured men through personal ads, enticing them into pen-pal relationships. Over several months, she persuaded these men, often homesick Norwegians, to visit her with their life savings in cash, without telling anyone their plans. Tragically, many arrived at her door with substantial amounts of money, never to be seen alive again. Authorities initially believed Belle perished in a fire at her home, where the charred remains of 3 children and a female torso were found. Her boyfriend, Ray Lamphere, was arrested and charged with arson. However, as police excavated the property, they unearthed numerous bodies and body parts unrelated to Lamphere. It later emerged that the headless torso might not have been Belle's, but rather her housekeeper's, who had vanished mysteriously. Adding to the intrigue, Belle had withdrawn significant sums of money from the bank before the fire. Lamphere reportedly confessed before his death that he assisted Belle in setting the fire and helped her escape by train. Despite numerous alleged sightings over the years, Belle Gunness's true fate remains a mystery. 2. Bobby Dunbar. In 1912, 4-year-old Bobby Dunbar vanished during a family holiday in Louisiana, sparking a massive search effort. Volunteers scoured the riverbanks, gutted alligators, and even dynamited a lake in hopes of recovering his body. Miraculously, 8 months later, Bobby was found alive with William Cantwell Walters in Mississippi. Walters was adamant that the boy was his nephew, yet he was convicted of kidnapping. Bobby was returned to his mother, who fainted with joy, exclaiming, "Thank God it is my boy." Walters was sentenced to life imprisonment, but served only 2 years. Shockingly, DNA tests in 2004 revealed that the child was not Bobby Dunbar, but likely Walter's nephew. The true fate of Bobby Dunbar remains a mystery, with drowning on the day he disappeared being the most plausible theory. 1. Ambrose Small. On December 2, 1919, Canadian millionaire and theater impresario Ambrose Small vanished without a trace from his office at the Grand Opera House in Toronto, Ontario. That very day, the lucrative sale of his theaters was set to finalize, a deal he had urgently expedited by 2 weeks. Despite earning over $1 million from the sale, Small never touched a cent, leaving the entire sum untouched in the bank. Strangely, his wife did not report him missing, believing he was with another woman, and it wasn't until January 3rd, a month later, that his disappearance made headlines. Speculation ran rampant. Had his wife murdered him and disposed of his body in the Grand Theatre's furnace, or did the police aid in his mysterious disappearance? If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more content. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friend. We appreciate your support. Bye.